Greetings and welcome to According to MJ. I am your gracious hostess, MJ. In this video, I am going to discuss Dawn Woods, who is the mother of Darrell Brooks. If you are not aware, Darrell Brooks has been convicted of 76 counts related to the Wisconsin parade tragedy that occurred in November of 2021. So before I get too far ahead, I do want to start off by saying that I'm not making this video with purposes of attacking his mother or attacking her character in any way. I just really want to point out both examples of how she has continuously enabled and coddled her son. And I know that any parent will tell you that parenting is very difficult, it's very challenging. However, we should not coddle our children. We are supposed to guide them, give them good counsel, but nothing good comes out of coddling and enabling. So what we're going to do right now, I'm going to show a few clips and then I'll be back with my commentary.
I wanted to help Darrell. I knew that he was not mentally capable of presenting himself as his own attorney. I wanted the judge to know that. And I thought by me writing her as his mother and someone who knows him better than anybody, my thoughts, but I can see the letter was to no avail. I just wanted Darrell to have a fair trial, but I can see that that's not going to happen. The odds have been stacked against him, and it doesn't matter what I say or do. They never intended to give him a fair trial. They never intended to be fair about anything. Darrell says to me all the time that he's the most hated inmate in Milwaukee County Jail. I don't think they should have released him, even though I did post the bail. But I post the bail because Erica Patterson, his girlfriend, I asked her personally, I called her personally, and I asked her, did he deliberately run over you? And I told her what the police told me. I'm asking you, did he deliberately do that? She told me no. That was not deliberate.
I think you can get help in no. Very little help. It's for individuals who are incarcerated with mental illness. That's why I wanted him to go to a hospital where he can still get treatment, but that won't be behind prison where he would not get any services. If Johnny does, it would be very little and not be what he needs. So it sounds like you don't think it was fair what he received. But you think you should have done any prison time? Yes.
To me, those clips really showcase how Dawn Woods has really been enabling Darrell Brooks pretty much all of his life. Now, for one, I really didn't understand her saying that Darrell wouldn't get a fair trial. Now, from what we have saw, the trial, to me, it seemed very fair. He was able to represent himself, which is his right. He is a United States citizen, so it's his right. And I know she was saying she wrote a letter to the judge asking that he not be allowed to represent himself due to his mental illness. Of course, we know by now that he was able to represent himself, and that's fine because that is his right. And she was like, I'm just trying to help him. He's mentally ill. And my thing is, like, he is a grown man, and the evidence the state had against him was so damning. Like, it didn't matter who represented him. If it was Matlock, Perry Mason, Johnny Cochran, Robert Carter, it didn't matter. Like, he with all the evidence, he is pretty much, it's clear he's guilty, right? He did it. He caused that incident. So I don't think that was real. I feel like that's a moot point. He's guilty. So to me, her stepping in on his behalf when he didn't ask her to do that, that's an example of enabling. Like, fall back. Your son is 40 years old. He's going to be all right. He's a grown man. Let him do his thing. Let him represent himself. He didn't need her to write that letter asking, right? So that's one example that really stood out to me. And then there was another example we saw where she was interviewing with the news media, and she was like, well, I don't feel like he should have been released, but at the same time, you bailed him out, Miss Wood. So it's kind of like, what sense does that make? Why would you bail out your son if you feel like he shouldn't have been released? That literally makes no sense. And then considering the fact that he ran over Erica Patterson, he assaulted her, that is why he was in jail in the first place. So why did you bail him out? He should have sat there. She should have allowed the judicial system, or judicial process rather, to just take place. Like, again, that's her stepping in, trying to be like Superwoman on behalf of Darrell, when what he did to Erica, that was horrible. He should be held accountable for that. Why is she bailing him out? I don't know, because it's close to Thanksgiving. I'm not sure what her reasoning was, but I'm really of the opinion that she bailed him out because she likes to coddle him. She sees him as her little precious baby boy. Now, I did do a little research, some intel, and what I discovered is that Darrell Brooks has a twin sister who is now deceased. So I'm wondering, perhaps she's so much like a helicopter mom, if you will, because of her daughter being deceased, and maybe she just wants to hold on tight to him. I can only just kind of guess as to why she behaves that way, but it's not a good look. And then when she said she called Erica to ask what happened, and she asked if he deliberately ran her over, and Erica said no. And we don't really know if that happened in the conversation, but let's assume it's true. With their history, knowing that, he impregnated her when she was a minor, and just their tumultuous history, I think she should have just left him locked up, just let things take its course. In my opinion, I don't think she should have bailed him out. But you all can let me know in the comments what you think. Okay, so of course we fast forward. He has now been convicted of the 76 charges, and they ask her, her feelings, her thoughts on it. And then she's like, well, she just kept saying that she wants him to go to a mental hospital instead of a prison. And she mentioned how the court system should give mentally ill people the help that they need. Now, one thought I had is like, well, what qualifications does Miss Woods have to say that prison is not the appropriate place for Darrell Brooks? She just always saying, oh, he's mentally ill, and prison doesn't address mental health issues. I think prison does address mental health issues. If I'm wrong, please let me know in the comments. But it's just, again, it's like she's using his mental health issues as an excuse. Like, yeah, he did mow through these people, but he's mentally ill, so let's just let him walk outside. Let's let him free because he's mentally ill. Like, does she think that's even fair for her son to be able to walk out of prison while all these other families have suffered and are still suffering? Like, come on, Miss Woods, he has to go to prison and face the consequences of his actions, I was like, wow. It's like a textbook case of enabling, and it's really unhealthy, and it's very common. I know I've seen it in my own family with my uncle, and he just had that failure to launch syndrome because he just been coddled all his life. There was always someone there to save him, and it's really sad to witness. And I don't know if you all recall during the trial, but they played a police interrogation video of Darrell Brooks, and he was practically blaming Erica for what he did. If y'all remember, he was like, oh, this is what happens when you choose the wrong woman, yada, yada, yada. Like, she didn't drive that SUV into the parade. He did. but he's blaming her because he was so upset with her. I guess it's her fault. Like, this is so asinine. But yet he has this mother that's bailing him out, and this is the things that he says. Like, he's blaming his girlfriend for him driving through the parade. I'm just so perplexed right now. And honestly, I really believe his mother doesn't mean any harm. I get it. She loves her son. All parents love their children, right? For the most part, parents love their children. But I really hope that she stops to analyze her behavior up to this point. Like, what is really driving her to coddle him like this? What is really behind it? I even saw a clip of Darrell Brooks on YouTube, and I think he was in a jail in Nevada, and he was discussing struggling with meth addiction. And he was talking about how he wanted, like, his son to have a better life, and how, I'm paraphrasing, and if you all need the link to that video, let me know. I'll drop it below. But he was, just to paraphrase, he was like, oh, it's like the drug turns you to a demon, it takes over. And I'm like, okay, again, here's Darrell Brooks just skirting the accountability off to something else outside of himself, like everything or everyone else is to blame besides him. It is truly sad to see. And another thing, I'm also wondering, is she like putting more onto his mental illness? Like, is she adding more than what's there? You know what I'm saying? It's like, is she making it a bigger deal than what it is? It really seems like her enabling, her coddling has stunted his growth. And perhaps he does. Okay, I do believe something is wrong with the dude. We saw the courtroom, we saw it was a mess. So I do believe he does have some issues. Are they as pervasive or as huge as she's trying to say? I'm really not so sure. I kind of I'm like, I think maybe she's adding a little more onto it than what's there. Because to me, he's literally like this toddler in a 40-year-old body. Like, he's a 40-year-old toddler. And with her also contributing to, like, you just do these things because you're mentally ill. You just drive your car through the parade because you bipolar, and, your mental illness has clipped your wings. It's like, I just feel like she is a part of the problem. Now, of course, I'm not blaming her for what he did. He did it. But she is an enabler, right? She really is. So, that's a lot. That's a lot. But that's pretty much the thoughts I have regarding her enabling behavior. I'm so curious to hear what you all think. Please hit that like. Please consider subscribing. Again, drop your thoughts below. And until the next one later, you all have a good one. Thanks for watching.